Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? I know people, well, I shouldn't be even asking that question. I'm so sorry, especially to my friends in Israel. Let me know how my audio is. Guys, please make sure you like the stream so that more people end up seeing the stream. Let me actually test my audio. All right, good. My audio is working. Thank you so much, Alfred, for being here. Thank you so much for Dolly for setting up, doing amazing research, guys. Dolly went and got all of these videos for me. Thank you, Dolly and Alfred. I know you were struggling to make it today, but you made it. So thank you so much, Alfred. Alfred is going to be here, guys, highlighting your comments so that you guys get to be part of the show. And guys, today I really need your comments because I'm really torn on this. I'm still in the process of forming opinion, and I need especially my people here from Israel to help me form opinions here, okay? Because I am very torn. I mean, I'm seeing the protests in Israel. There are unbelievable, like the number of people who are participating in this. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of disagreement, and I'm expecting people from Israel here to be torn on this as well. There seems to be a lot of disagreements among Israelis right now, but here we're going to try to figure out what's happening and try to at least have a conversation about it. But for people who don't know what's happening, at least let's get everyone updated and up to speed. We'll watch this, and then after that we'll cover what's happening, what we think is the correct position. Are you in favor of a ceasefire? Are you in favor of continuing the war? Do you think Netanyahu is wrong here or he's right? Well, we'll see what's happening. Okay, was it whose is this Netanyahu's fault? Should we be blaming Netanyahu that the hostages died? Was there a way out of this? Our people are missing the point. But again, I have my own opinions, and I am not obviously certain of them. So I'm going to be bouncing it off you guys, especially people in Israel. Okay, Roy is here. Roy, I'm so glad that you're here. Let me know, Roy, if you want to come up on the stream. I could send you, like, message me on Telegram. Tell me if you want to come up because I do need opinions. And also, Dolly in the live chat is saying, free the world from Hamas. Yes, Dolly, I agree with that. And Ziv is saying, our heart is broken, but our spirit is not. Am Israel high. Yes, Am Israel high. Guys, Israel, stay strong, guys. Stay strong. And again, I know right now it's very difficult. It's a very difficult situation. Um, but let's see if we can make sense of it. Marcus saying, thank you, Armin, for being here in these difficult times. Well, thank you for you guys for being here. I really need you guys because I want to make sure that this is a very informed coverage of what's happening. Anyways, let's get an update. Let's watch this first.
We begin in Israel this hour, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed his nation in the wake of protests over the death of 6 hostages in Gaza. Critics have blamed Netanyahu for failing to secure a ceasefire and hostage release deal with Hamas. He says he spoke with the families of the victims and says he is devastated over their loss.
And their desire to live, and all that light was suddenly extinguished in one go. All that was destroyed by monstrous, cruel hands. I said to the families, and I will reiterate that this evening, I am begging for your forgiveness that we did not succeed bringing them home alive. We were very close, nearly there.
And this follows several clashes between protesters and police in Tel Aviv overnight. A major union went on strike today to put more pressure on Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire deal.
Guys, by the way, just to make it very clear right at the beginning, I do not agree at all with a ceasefire, and you guys might hate me for saying this, but I will tell you why. And if you disagree with me, I know there are a lot of people in Israel right now protesting for a ceasefire. I think that is the wrong decision. Okay, Roy, can you make it? Can you make it to the stream? Can you come up and give me your opinions? I do want an Israeli up here. If you can make it, please message me on Telegram, and I will send you the link to come up if you are interested in coming up. But I am, by the way, we should have started with this. I think this is more important. Like this is what we should have started with. These are the pictures of the hostages murdered by Hamas, and they were so close. They were so close to making it out alive. Like the IDF was so close to them, and they were just killed with a bullet to their head just minutes before IDF was reaching them. All taken out. These are one of them is also an American citizen. They're all Israeli citizens. And imagine after almost a year of being taken hostage after October 7th, like imagine what they have been through. A year of hoping that they're going to make it out, and all of that, after all that suffering, all of that, then this is the ending. Imagine their families, the people that were waiting for one year to for them to maybe be able to see them. Guys, I only can ask Roy to come up because I know Roy, and there's if other people want to come up here, we should like have a test test at some point somewhere else. But like, please leave your comments in the chat. If you're, especially Alfred, please make sure that you star Israeli opinions. Like, you guys could be part of the show by giving me your opinions, and Alfred will be starring your comments, and I will be reading your comments. Okay. But for other people wanting to come up, this has to be something that we have done before for me to be able to do this here. Anyways, but let's continue. So Israel offered a ceasefire. Yeah, so we will get into that deal. When you guys are saying the ceasefire that people are asking for is insane. The ceasefire, because Hamas is not going to accept the ceasefire unless they get the Philadelphia corridor, and that is an insane ask. That is an insane ask. I mean, I think I do not defend Netanyahu on everything he does. You guys know I have criticized him so much, but I think Netanyahu here is correct not to give up the Philadelphia corridor. We'll get to that.
Meantime, the funeral service for Israeli American Hersh Goldberg-Polin was held this morning in Jerusalem. His parents delivered heartbreaking eulogies. They prayed they would never have to give.
For 23 years, I was privileged to have the most stunning honor to be Hersh's mama. I'll take it and say thank you. I just wish it had been for longer. Part of what is so deeply crushing and confusing for all of us is that a strange thing happened along this macabre path upon which our family found itself traveling for the last 332 days. Amidst the inexplicable agony, terror, anguish, desperation, and fear, we became absolutely certain that you were coming home to us alive. But it was not to be. Now I no longer have to worry about you. I know you are no longer in danger.
And CBS News contributor Robert.
All right, so Roy can't come up on the show, but Roy, please add your comments, and Alfred will be starring them. Okay? So,
Burger.
And also, I see the super chats. I will get to the super chats as well.
Is in Jerusalem with more on this. Robert, let's start with that funeral today. Just so heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, and a massive show of solidarity and support out on the streets for the funeral procession, with thousands of Israelis carrying the national flag in solidarity. Hersh was a symbol of the hostage crisis, an international symbol because he was American, and also because his parents.
Here's one thing I don't understand. Hersh was American, and Americans have not done a good job in threatening Hamas regarding anything happening to him. Like, the Israeli government has been much more aggressive when it comes to demonstrating its deterring capacity when it comes to threatening Hamas, warning Hamas. United States would have been a lot more effective. Like if the threat was backed up by United States, I think a lot of these hostages would be alive by now. I think a lot of people are asking Netanyahu to back down. I think that's the wrong ask. I think they should have been asking the United States to match what Israel is doing in threatening Hamas regarding what will happen to them. If anything happens, at least to their own citizen. Like a lot of the costs when it comes to associated with going out and trying to find these hostages has been on Israel's soldier without American participation as much as, I mean, it's your citizen. Where is your manpower on the ground helping Israel trying to win this war? From the United States, we're just hearing criticism, trying to tie Israel's hand behind their back while trying to fight this war, making the winning of this war a lot more difficult and a lot more delayed. Instead of stopping Israel, they should be joining Israel. I don't know, all this blaming and all this, it's so stupid. I don't, but let me.
John and Rachel had
Somebody, purple Paul, star that guy. I think is not very smart. Hold on, what did he say? Don't star his comments so I could respond to him, because that guy is not very smart. Roy saying Gantz and I don't know how to pronounce it. Gantz said they will explain why we should not remain in Philadelphia corridor at the evening. Okay, I know what they're gonna say. I know what they're gonna say, that because if they leave it, they could reinvade it at any time. But I don't know. Do they think like Hamas is going to accept a deal that they know, especially after they openly have said that they could come and we'll get to the Philadelphia corridor soon, okay? But I don't think that Hamas is that stupid for them to do a deal where they could lose the corridor as soon as they give it up. Anyways, let's continue.
Had gone across the world in a high-profile campaign to try and win his release. For instance, they spoke at the Democratic National Convention a couple of weeks ago, and basically they, in their eulogies today, which were very, very moving, they said that they hope that after 330 days, that they hope.
So, like, Purple Pulp is an idiot, obviously. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. No, keep that highlighted. Purple saying the Philadelphia corridor. Can you, Alfred, please keep that highlighted? He said, Purple Pulp is saying the Philadelphia corridor is just smoke and mirrors. Hamas will only agree to a full surrender deal. They haven't moved an inch with their demands. I don't know. They have... Right now, the negotiation that was on the table, right, was for a temporary ceasefire and the giving up of the Philadelphia corridor in exchange for the removal of hostages, right? I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say. Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, so that's on me, okay? But if what you're saying, first of all, is not true, but even if it's true, that will basically be in my favor, right? And what I'm saying, because that will, sorry, Purple Pulp, maybe I misunderstood what you were trying to say. But if you're saying Hamas will never move an inch, then obviously then that means Netanyahu should not be negotiating with them at all. They should continue with the war. You're saying Hamas would have not given up the hostages even if there was a full surrender? Okay, if you're saying that, I see what you're saying now. I thought you were saying something else. Then that will confirm what I'm saying. But even if you're wrong, even if Hamas will be like, okay, here's your hostages, if you get out of the Philadelphia corridor, then that should have still, even if Hamas did move an inch, that is obviously something that you should not give up to Hamas. And I will explain why soon. The consequence, a lot of people in Israel will be like, no, Armin, we should have done that. We should have accepted that deal and done a ceasefire, because don't you care about the life of the hostages? I mean, there would be more hostages. This whole October 7th happened because of Hamas being able to bring in missiles and guns through this corridor. Anyways, we'll get back. The consequences are more hostages. Anyways, let's watch this and then I'll get to that point.
That Hersh would come back alive, but he didn't. At the same time, they said they hope that this is going to be a turning point. His death will be a turning point to win the release of the remaining 101 hostages held in Gaza.
Right. And I wonder about that. Is there more pressure because of what just happened this weekend on Benjamin Netanyahu now to strike a deal with Hamas?
Oh, yes, massive pressure, because we saw last night hundreds of thousands of people came out on the streets of Tel Aviv to demonstrate and call for a hostage deal now. And the sheer numbers on the streets, there are demonstrations also going on today. And the sheer numbers are putting pressure on Netanyahu to make a deal with Hamas to bring the hostages home. But, you know, if we've learned anything from Netanyahu over the past 6 months or so, it's that he's capable of resisting pressure. He's faced a massive pressure from the Biden administration. He's faced pressure from the families of the hostages and now on the streets. But Netanyahu has a dilemma. You know, he wants to bring the hostages home, but the far right-wing ministers in his cabinet have threatened to topple the government if he goes ahead with this deal to stop the war. So Netanyahu is a political survivor, and he is trying to maintain his.
You know, a lot of people want to talk about Netanyahu's personal motivations. He just wants to hold on to power. He doesn't. If he loses power, he might go to prison. That's why he's continuing to war. The correct answer is still the correct answer regarding Netanyahu's motivations. Let's say Netanyahu is just only doing this because of his own personal gain. He just wants to not go to prison, and that's all he's doing this for. Okay. All right. I don't know. Sure. Maybe. I don't care. I think the answer is still that you shouldn't give this up to Hamas. But let's continue.
His grip on power by resisting this pressure.
And, you know, Robert, we should mention that we're seeing a slight pause in fighting right now for the UN polio vaccination effort happening there. Tell us more about what this looks like on the ground and how those vaccines are actually being administered.
So,
wait, that's not relevant. Hold on. Let's go to this video. I just want you guys to see the scale of the protest. This is insane. Look at the number of people who are showing up. And again, I know that the number of people who are showing up in a protest is not a good way of figuring out what percentage of what people think what. For that, I have statistics, okay? I have scientifically collected data, and I will show you that. But again, look at the protests. Look at the number of people on the streets. Look at this. Holy moly, look at the people. Guys, how many people showed up? This is insane. I think these are the greatest protests in Middle East history, I think. That is crazy. Anyways, but Ayatollah Khamenei in the live chat is saying, no country should be asked to deal with a hostile army within a territory. It is responsible for within the territory it's responsible for. Gazans built a society of violence sad for innocence. Okay, I don't think I agree with that. No matter how evil the other side is, we can't judge these things based on principles, we have to judge these things based on consequences, right? I think that we shouldn't have a deal with Hamas here for a ceasefire, not out of principles. I am actually being a consequentialist here. So sometimes you might have to negotiate with evil. It's true. Sometimes you might have to do a deal with absolute evil for pragmatic reasons. If the benefit outweighs the cost, then yes, sometimes you actually have to even negotiate with terrorists. But here, in this specific case, the benefits do not outweigh the cost. They do not outweigh the cost. And let me actually show you why, and I will get into more videos. By the way, guys, I have a video that I'm going to show you at the end of the stream that you're not going to see anywhere else that will basically make a lot of my points for me, okay? So, but let me show you what I'm talking about here, okay? I don't know why a lot of people are calling it the Philadelphia corridor. I think it's the Philadelphia corridor. I don't know why a lot of American media is calling it a Philadelphia. I think they mistook it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the Philadelphia, I think, corridor, right? This is wrong. The picture is wrong. But you can see where it is, right? This is Gaza. That's the Philadelphia corridor. That's Egypt. You can see where the Rafah pass is, right? I think it's like 100-meter wide or something. And again, this is Hamas wants Israel to give this up. Hamas wants Israel to give this up for the release of, I don't know, hostages or ceasefire or whatever. And yeah, that is insane. That is basically the breathing room for Hamas. This entire point of invading Gaza was to be able to remove Hamas's capacity to wage war in Israel. Giving up this corridor, this is basically the lifeline. This is where all the missiles and all the guns come to Gaza for Hamas to use against Israelis. This is obviously shouldn't be giving them that. And again, Hamas is not going to accept any form of deal. So some people in Israel are like, okay, just give it to them. Let's get the hostages. And if we need to, we could take it back again anytime we want. Obviously, Hamas is not going to accept any deal where that would be possible. Hamas is asking for an international deal with guarantees from Israel's allies that once they have this, Israel is not going to come back. They want that sort of a deal. They're not that stupid. Obviously, they're not going to give up their hostages for just temporarily giving up the corridor. So, and okay, so another criticism for Netanyahu is like, if this corridor was such a big deal, then why did you start all the way from the north and came down instead of just coming up and capturing this corridor to begin with, right at the beginning of the war? That is a fair criticism. And I don't know why that is. And I suspect the reason why they didn't, Israel's IDF didn't, maybe some people, this might be a conspiracy theory. Again, this is not my suggestion, but some people are saying that maybe Israel's plan was to push the Gazans into Egypt. And that's why they went all the way from the north to the south. And that eventually, that didn't actually work out. But I don't know if that was their plan, but it strategically made sense for them to start from the north and the middle and the south all at the same time and close the corridor from right at the beginning. But they didn't do that. So that's a fair criticism. But regardless what they did as a mistake before, they shouldn't give this up. You are going to have more October 7th. If you give up this corridor, you're going to have more hostages if you give up this corridor. Roy is saying the images that were shown are from Tel Aviv. Yes, let me actually show you some more videos. But guys, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Tell me why I'm wrong. Because the position that I'm right now in is a lot of the family of hostages. I am basically, look at the difficult position I am in. I'm here trying to support Israel. And a lot of Israelis want a ceasefire right now and protesting in the streets. I am pro-protest. I am pro, like, people being able to hold the government responsible. And then at the same time, I'm disagreeing with these protesters in Israel, and I'm disagreeing with the family of the hostages. This is a very uncomfortable position for me. And that's why I want you guys in the live chat to tell me if I am wrong, right? What's the mistake that I'm making here? Also, another thing is all of these protests are reward. Okay, this is going to come off as really heartless if I say this out loud, but I have to say it, guys. I'm not trying to be heartless, okay? And I'm not trying to suggest that, oh, you guys are like pro Hamas or anything, okay? But this is rewarding Hamas. I'm just telling you objectively, this is rewarding the killing of hostages. Hamas has no power over the Israeli government, but the Israeli people have power over the Israeli government. And Hamas can see what they cannot do with missiles, they can do with the killing of hostages. They have turned Israel on their own government, and they have successfully done that with the killing of the hostages. This is a signal to Hamas that the killing of the hostages works. So this encourages more killing of hostages. Do you understand? This is why people say you don't negotiate with terrorists, because the reason is because then you're rewarding them doing more terrorism. So if you negotiate if you are pressuring even if you want Netanyahu to go away, you have to do it on your own terms. Like if you are an Israeli that wants to get rid of Netanyahu at some point, you shouldn't do maximum pressure in response on Netanyahu at a point where Hamas has killed your hostages, because then it's not you who have removed Netanyahu, it's Hamas that has removed Netanyahu. Hamas is now able to doing something that it shouldn't have the power to do. Anyways, let me actually look at the next video. This video is number 2. This is from before. Dolly wanted me to show you guys this. This is the family of one of the hostages. I think the American one. Yes, Hersh. This is the father of Hersh, and this is before they were killed, right? So they were asked an important question a few months ago, and they say, why haven't any of the names of? Okay, I will just let it play so you guys can listen to him while I get the other data.
We saw people.
Wait, so let me actually read this comment that you just highlighted. Alfred, make sure you star these because I want to make sure that I end up reading some of these comments, right? Oh, keep it. Let me see. Yeah, thank you. Daniel saying, I agree in principle, but these particular hostages probably got killed because Hamas was running away and couldn't drag them with them and didn't want to leave them alive. Okay, but that doesn't change it. We don't know that exactly what happened. We just know that they were alive, and then, like I said at the beginning of the show, the IDF was getting close, and they shot them. Right. So, what was their motivation? You're probably right. That could be one reason, but I don't know why you're putting "but" in between what I'm saying and what you're saying, because what you're saying does not negate anything I've said. You say I agree, Armin, in principle, but the thing that you said after, even if it's true, Hamas is now observing that the killing of the hostages is turning Israel, is dividing Israel, and is turning the people against the government. So the observation of Hamas and the reward that Hamas is getting is still the same thing. So it doesn't negate anything I said. It also doesn't negate the fact that Netanyahu shouldn't be giving up the Philadelphia corridor to Hamas. So there's no but there. Like, why is there a but in between those sentences? Because your statement, even if it's true, it doesn't. How does that? My claims are still valid. Anyways, let's watch this video. This is the father of Hersh.
We saw people holding signs in New York that said, kill the hostages. How is that a thing, and why is that a thing? Like, who wants to kill innocent hostages?
What the hell? We had Americans holding the signs. Like, these are anti-Israeli protesters holding signs, kill the hostages? That's insane.
We saw people holding signs in New York that said, kill the hostages. How is that a thing, and why is that a thing? Like, who wants to kill innocent hostages?
Today marks 257 days since the terrorist group Hamas attacked Israel, killed about 1,200 people, and took more than 250 people hostage. There are 8 hostages with dual American Israeli citizenship, including your son. 5 of them, including your son, are believed to be alive, 3 of them not. Are you surprised that more isn't made in American media and by American politicians about the fact that there are 5 presumably living American hostages being held by a terrorist group in Gaza?
I definitely.
Look at this idiot. Okay, Purple Pulp, you're obviously an idiot. So he says he's telling me you lack the basic understanding of inner Israeli works. The anti-government movement leached on the hostage issues. It's so funny how you're saying that I have basic understanding of something, and then you're saying something that I have said before myself. Wow, you are not very smart, Purple Pulp. You're not very smart. You're saying something that I have said to also show that I don't understand how the inner Israel. And also, it's so interesting how a lot of what I'm saying is people in the live chat who are from Israel are agreeing with what I'm saying, while you're saying that I don't understand how the inners of Israel, how things in Israel work. Obviously, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be taken seriously. But anyways, let's continue.
Not. Are you surprised that more isn't made in American media and by American politicians about the fact that there are 5 presumably living American hostages being held by a terrorist group in Gaza?
I definitely think it is
shocking that the vast majority of Americans have no idea that there are 8 U.S. citizens currently, right now as we're speaking, being held hostage in Gaza. I feel so strongly that I have these memories when Brittany Griner was being unjustly detained, and of course Evan Gershkovich, who's still being detained. These,
and
to
Trevor
me, were
Reed and Paul
household
Whelan.
names. Household names. The vast majority of Americans have no idea that these 8 U.S. citizens are being held. It's already 257 days, and I find
it's unbelievable. Like, what is wrong with America? Okay, like Israelis, all like the Israeli hostages are household names in Israel. How is it that Americans, not only these, they don't know the names of the hostages of their fellow citizens, they don't even know that there are American hostages. Most Americans don't even know that there are American hostages in Israel. Like, do Israelis just care more about their fellow citizens than Americans?
find it just shocking. People also aren't aware that of the 120 remaining hostages, that they are representatives of 24 different nations. They are Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists. I very rarely hear anyone advocating for the Muslim Arabs who are being held, or the Thai Buddhists being held, or the Black African Christians being held. They're Nepalese, Argentinians, Germans, Polish. You just don't hear it. They try, and I don't know who they is, but the world is trying to create this monolithic, homogenous group of people, and it's an absolute disservice and injustice to those people being held.
And John, we're all about the same age. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the American hostages being held in Iran. Obviously a different circumstance, but the whole country wore yellow ribbons. Nightline started because of that crisis. Day 34, day 115. Does it surprise you? And what do you think, why do you think it is?
It disappoints me, and I was thinking about it this morning. I don't get much exercise nowadays, but jet lagged, up early, and running around Washington, you just feel the city, the country, the United States is steeped in emancipation, liberty, freedom. Today's Juneteenth that we're celebrating. Americans don't like people being held against their will, certainly not other Americans. So it's disappointing that there isn't more conversation, and it's surprising because it's something that is so core to the United States of America. We have people being held. We got to do everything we can to get them out. And one step of that is awareness. The country should be talking about this, should know about it. They should know the 8 names of the Americans who are being held.
What did you make of I'm sure you know about this, the Brooklyn Museum had an exhibit about the Nova Music Festival where your beloved son was taken hostage and so many innocent people were killed, and there were actually protesters, not just anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian, literally pro-Hamas protesters there belittling the pain, justifying the slaughter in the streets of New York.
It's totally astonishing. We say all the time, if you want to be out supporting the Palestinians, we have no problem with that. That's totally understandable. But that it gets conflated with having to be anti something else. We saw people holding signs in New York that said, "Kill the hostages." How is that a thing, and why is that a thing? Like, who wants to kill innocent hostages? We were in a restaurant here in Washington, D.C. last night, a fast food restaurant, and somebody walked into the restaurant and said to the workers, "Is this place Zionist? Who are the owners of this place?"
Oh my God.
I mean, we're witnessing this stuff that we kind of hear about from afar, and it is astonishing. 2024 in America.
It is a very, very small, loud minority, and I just want to make sure you know that most of the American people are hoping and praying that Hersh gets home soon, and we certainly feel that way here on The Lead and on CNN. Rachel and John, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for continuing to tell the story.
Well, he didn't get home. He didn't get home because, and I blame Biden more than I would blame Netanyahu for this. But let's look at, actually, I want to hear more about the hostages.
We're back with a Fox News alert. A vigil will be held tonight here in New York City for the 6 hostages found dead in Gaza just days ago. An IDF spokesman says the body of American Hersh Goldberg-Polin and 5 others were, quote, brutally murdered, possibly a day or two before troops discovered them. Hamas abducted all 6 on October 7th. Now we have 4 Americans that have been found dead and 4 still captive
these tragic events that have now happened in Gaza, the Biden-Harris administration needs to allow Israel to do the job of finishing Hamas. This has been the situation really since October 7. Israel has been prepared to do everything it can to get the hostages back. But it's been slow-walked in part because of this response from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They have been pressuring Israel, not allowing Israel to do what is necessary. And it is unfortunate that when you have a terrorist group like Hamas.
So, guys, somebody saying Fox News and Angie is like puking. I mean, the point you listen, let's try not to commit the genetic fallacy, right? I try to judge what somebody is saying independent from the source that is coming from. Like even independently for what this, like it could be Al Jazeera, it could be Fox News, it could be CNN, it could be even, I don't know, whoever, think about the craziest person that is not a very good source of information. Try to listen to what they're saying independently from the source and see if it's justified or not.
Hamas that hides behind women and children. They hide behind civilians. They do this all the time. But all the dithering from this administration, from Kamala Harris, from Joe Biden, that's the weakness that leads to the death of hostages. There needs to be an immediate change in strategy from this White House.
Right. So, I mean, everything he said there, I think it was correct. Okay. I'm going to read some of your comments after. There's a lot more videos I want to show you. And again, the most important one is the last video I'm going to show you. So please stay safe for that. There's a video from a mullah, from an ahund, a mullah in Iran in response to the protests in Israel. And I want you to see how the religious in Iran are responding to the protests in Israel. I want you to see that, so that will make a lot of the points that I'm trying to make for me. But I'm going to show you a couple more videos. Like, after this video, I will read some of your comments because there are a lot of comments from Israel that I want to read. All right. These are Hersh's last words, but before I play that, let me read some of your comments. Arimov with the $2 super chat saying this leftist orange revolution attempt. I don't think this is an orange revolution. I think isn't the orange revolution about regime change? I think these people, if they want anything, they want a government change. They don't want a regime change. I don't know. I don't know how you define an orange revolution, but I don't think that's I don't know if that applies here. Okay. Jason is saying all you need to. This is a really good comment. Jason is saying all you need to do is ask why they want Israel to leave the Philadelphia corridor to understand why it shouldn't be surrendered. Yes, why is Hamas, when it comes to ceasefire, why is Hamas so insistent on Israel leaving the Philadelphia corridor? The fact that they wanted that bad should give you a hint for why you shouldn't be giving it to them. If you give the Philadelphia corridor to Hamas, you're giving way more than 6 hostages. You're going to have this happen again and again and again after so much cost, after everything that happened in Gaza. You should finish the job. If you don't finish the job, if you allow breathing room for Hamas to be able to re-equip itself with military, with rockets and guns, then this would have been all for none. You're back at square one. All of the costs that you have paid, it will be able to come back. You should not give up Gaza as a whole. You should never leave Gaza ever again, let alone just that area should be completely under the control of Israel forever. You cannot risk giving away Gaza to another Islamic government, to Hamas especially, or anything Hamas like. The Philadelphia corridor, they require that because that is how they attack Israel. That is why would you give them? So for you want another October 7th for saving 6 hostages? Every single one of those hostages are very important, but so are the 1,200 people that died on October 7th. Why would you want to risk having something like that happen to you again? That's again, if I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know if I'm wrong. I don't understand I disagree with the protesters. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but correct me, please. The cat lady is saying people in Israel have somehow been convinced by people in power, mainly Ehud Barak. They were told Bibi is the source of all evil. They forgot there were terror attacks before he was an adult. Yeah, I mean, I am against many positions that Netanyahu has taken. However, when it comes to him saying the positions that he's taking regarding what we should be doing in this war, I think his positions are correct. I mean, it's not black and white. Just because I don't like him in some regards, I'm not going to disagree with him when he has a point. Tanya is saying shared. Shared the video. Thank you guys for sharing this video. I agree. Hamas demands are unfair and unreasonable. At times, Hamas have received Gazan prisoners and given back deceased hostages. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's about fair or unfair. I think when you Hamas will never be fair. Obviously, the point is not whether Hamas is fair. You should not expect fairness from Hamas. Their calculation should be based on consequences, not based on fairness or unfairness. You should be like, if I pick A, what will be the consequences? If I pick B, what will be the consequences? You have to do a cost-benefit analysis for each decision. Forget fairness, okay? Forget principles. Only measure consequences. Which decision will save more lives? That's the decision that you have to, that's the calculation that you have to be making. Blue is saying Hamas doesn't want to move an inch. They want their corridor because they have tons of tunnels hidden there. Egypt knows it because they were Egyptian smugglers. Yeah, so Egypt is complicated as well. I mean, Egypt doesn't like Hamas, but they also don't want they said this was a red line for them, for Israel to take control of over that corridor because that was under their control. But every time Egypt said something, there's a red line. A few months after, they were pushed to accept the red line that they said they're not going to cross. So if Egypt, to be fair, has been flexible. However, Egypt doesn't like Egypt. There are many people in Egypt who love Hamas, but Egypt's government hates Hamas. I mean, it's Muslim Brotherhood. That's their number one enemy. However, Egypt is also terrified regarding Israel at some point planning to push all these terrorists into Egypt, right? So Egypt wants Israel to kind of destroy Hamas, but they also don't want Israel to at some point try to push all of these terrorists into their land. So that's what Egypt is thinking about, right? Okay, so Arthur saying it's all fault of Ben Gvir. Well, I mean, when you say it's all, then when you speak in absolutes, you're probably wrong. Okay, when you speak in absolutes, you are probably wrong. Gabriel is saying October 7th did not happen because of Philadelphia corridor. It happened because of complete incompetence of government to protect its citizens. Well, Gabriel, you are wrong because this is a multifactorial. Do you understand that the world is the reasons why things happen are not because of A, B, or C. It's because of A all the way to Z. So there is not one thing that causes something. In politics, in war, in society, in social sciences, almost everything is multifactorial. So I agree with you that it was because of government incompetence, but it was also because of the Philadelphia corridor. Where do you think they got those weapons from? It's both, and it's both of those things and many other things. Why do you think it's either or? Why can't it not be both? Again, one reason why I criticize Netanyahu is because of what you just said. October 7th happened under his watch. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you, Angie. Angie's saying, I don't think you were wrong, but we don't want to give up the hostages. It's complicated. Thank you for talking about it, though, sending a hug to all. Of course, I understand that. Of course that you don't want to give up the hostages. Like, how, nobody would blame you for that. Of course, I understand. Of course, it's complicated. Of course that Israel, your right to be devastated. I mean, I'm devastated, and I'm not even Israeli. Okay, I can't imagine what you guys are going through. I know how Israelis are so close to each other. I mean, look at the Americans. Like, Americans are not crying over an American hostage dying, but look at Israelis. Israelis are so much closer to each other. The Israeli society feels a lot more like a family than the American society. For some reason, Americans don't have this bond with each other that you guys have. So of course I understand how devastating it must be, and how you want to do everything possible to not give up your hostages. Of course, and you shouldn't. What I'm saying is not that to dismiss that attitude. You have a beautiful attitude, and you should hold on to it. This is what makes Israel strong. The fact that you love each other so much and want to protect each other so much. This is the strength of Israel. What I'm saying is not against anything you're saying, Angie. What I'm saying is that when you're trying to save your hostages, if you give Hamas something that gives them the power to take more hostages, then you have gained some of your hostages, but you have allowed more hostages to be taken in the future, and more Israelis to die in the future. That's what I'm saying. This is the situation of, if you are a parent and somebody come and takes your child hostage and wants money in return, the reason why society wants to stop you from giving money to those hostages is because they don't want to reward hostage taking of more children. Obviously, as a mother or a father, I understand why you just want to give the money to those hostage takers. Nobody would blame you for, if a mother goes and gets the money of I want to free my child, and wants to somehow violate the law and give the money to the hostages to free up her child. Nobody would blame her. Nobody would say, I don't understand why she's doing that. Everybody would sympathize with her. But at the same time, the society as a whole wants to stop her because we don't want the hostage taking to turn into an industry. We don't want that to work. We don't want to signal to other criminals to go out and take more hostages. It's a very difficult and complicated decision. But again, we have to make hard decisions. All right. The cat lady is saying, oh, thank you, cat lady. And I was, okay. And she's saying, I love you. Thank you. Well, I love you too. The cat lady is saying, Armin, I am scared to say it here in Israel because it's loaded, but you are correct. I've been suspicious of the protest even before the war. It's the same by the way, but I've been there. I saw who they are. Okay, so the cat lady, the protesters are a mix of people. Some of them are genuine. Israel is a mixed group of people. We have many good people in Israel, but obviously we also have bad people in Israel. There are within the protests, you have genuine people who actually care about the hostages, and within the protests, we have people who are misusing this case, and they're actually people who are just anti the government, and they don't even care about the hostages, and they're just using this as an excuse. I just don't want to paint all the protesters with the same brush, because obviously it's a diverse group of people. Hamas, so Carl is saying Hamas said that they ordered all hostages to be killed before they freed by force. So Hamas, we're getting mixed messages from Hamas. Hamas also came out and said that, oh, we didn't shoot them. Israel killed their own hostages by trying to bomb us, which is an absolute insane claim, because the family of the hostages would be getting the remains of the hostages, so they could obviously see what happened to them. They didn't die from missiles or by Israel or anything like that. And even if you think that, oh yeah, Israel lies and all Israelis, including the family of the hostages, lies. One of the hostages was American. Obviously, you can't lie to America. Their intelligence would be able to tell how their hostage of this was killed. Anyways, there are a lot more comments, but I want to play a little bit more videos before I get to more comments. So this one is Hersh's last words. So let's listen to what this is the last things that we had from him. This is another last thing. This is before he died. This is the Israeli and American citizen. So he says, another last thing is more important than all my mother, my father, Libby and Orly.
ליבי ואורלי. אני אוהב אתכם מאוד.
I love you.
אני מתגעגע אליכם מאוד.
So much and I miss you.
ואני חושב עליכם בכל יום.
So much and I think about you every day.
שאני נמצא פה.
I know you're doing your best to get me home as soon as
אני
possible.
יודע שאתם למעלה עושים הכל כדי שאני אחזור הביתה כמה שיותר מהר. אני צריך שתישארו
I want you to stay strong for me
חזקים בשבילי ולא להפסיק לי
and not stop until we all return home.
לכם עד שאני וכל אחד ואחת מהחטופים נחזור הביתה לשלום. אני מצפה.
I accept and hope to see you very soon.
מקווה להיות איתכם בקרוב אחרי שכל השיגעון הזה ייגמר.
After all this tragedy is over. All right, so let's look at. I'm not going to comment on that. Let's watch some more videos from the protests.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Oh wait. This is not the protest. This is people in the United States in Columbus Circle in New York City. So what is this? These are people. Americans are okay. Okay, so this is so people are gathering in New York City for the hostages, right? So
Oh yeah, I'm good.
by the way, this is you might think like, oh, Armin, see, Americans do care about the hostages. This is not, I mean, I'm glad that these people are here. But when it comes to the average American, like the average Israeli knows what's happening. They know the hostages, okay? But even though it's great that these people are doing this, but this does not represent the average American. Most Americans have no clue what the hell is happening. Most Americans don't know anything about the American hostages in Israel. This represents a minority, a small minority of Americans. But I'm glad that they're there at least. Thank you. So, by the way, for some of you are trying to suggest that all the protesters. Let's actually go to the protests in Tel Aviv. Okay, some of you are trying to paint all the protesters with the same brush, right? Some of you who are against the protesters are trying to say that these are the enemy themselves, right? These are Hamas sympathizers in Israel. And I don't think that's fair. And I do agree that some of them are like that. Obviously, they're a diverse group of people. I just don't think that you should dismiss all of them. I think you should. And if you think they're a minority, I actually have stats. I actually have data to show you that the position that they're having in Israel. I mean, I disagree with them, but they don't have the minority position. And I will show you that. But let's watch this protest in Israel.
Busha! Busha! Busha!
What? What the hell? They're just being sprayed on and they're like lying on the. What the hell is this? Hold on.
Busha! Busha!
What is this? Okay, so let's go to. Oh, this one is so heartbreaking. So this is the parents of Hersh before he was murdered, and this is the mother of Hersh, who stood at the border on Gaza and basically screamed into Gaza just in case her son could hear her. So let's watch this. This is Hersh's mother.
Hersh! Hersh! It's Mama. Hersh, I love you. Stay strong. Survive.
Hersh, it's Dada. And what you need to know, and all 107 of you need to know, is not only are the families here today and 9 million people of this country, but people all over the world are fighting for you. We will not stop until all of you are home soon. Hersh, Yisimcha, Elohim ki Ephraim v'chi Menashe, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Amen.
All right, let's look at how Netanyahu responded to all of this. I think I need to read this. And then I will also show another video of a protest. And then the most important video is the video I have from a mullah in Iran regarding all of these protests. I want you guys to understand how the enemies of Israel are seeing this.
I'm Hina.
אזרחי ישראל, אנחנו
He says, Netanyahu says, we are facing
בעיצומה של מלחמה
existential war
קיומית.
against Iran's. Okay, can somebody please tell Netanyahu to stop calling the Islamic Republic Iran? Do you know? Oh my God. Guys, Israelis, your biggest enemy is the Islamic Republic of Iran. Your best hope for destroying the Islamic Republic of Iran is for the people of Iran to turn against the Islamic Republic. All right? Referring to the Islamic Republic as Iran does not help with that. If you call the Islamic Republic and use the word Iran for the people of Iran, then a lot more Iranians will see that the Israeli government is seeing the divide. I mean, I know Netanyahu has mentioned many times that he sees the divide, but I think it's very important. It would be a huge signal to the Iranian people if they see that you're using the word Iran for the Iranian people and the Islamic Republic for the regime. Please don't refer to the Islamic Republic as Iran. I know it seems like nitpicking, but because I'm aware of Iranian politics, and the Iranian people's attitude when it comes to looking at Israel and trying to see if we're allies or not, I know that this makes a huge difference. Okay, it would be very strategic of you if you do not refer to the Islamic Republic regime as Iran. In fact, call them an occupying force of Iran. You know how they like to call you occupiers? Call them occupiers. The Islamic regime is occupying Iran. That would be a huge thing. That would be amazing if you did that. Anyways, let's continue. So he's saying that we're facing a threat from Iran, meaning the Islamic Republic. The first condition is victory. Victory in this existential war. Unity within us. Yes, call it occupied Iran. Even if you want to refer to it as Iran, call it occupied Iran, not Iran. Good job, yeah. If you like, oh my God, Islamic Republic is so long, I just want to refer to it as Iran. At least say occupied Iran. Yes.
לעמוד מלוכדים כאיש אחד מול אויב אכזר
They want to destroy us all.
שרוצה להשמיד את כולנו
without exception.
בלי יוצא מן הכלל. שמאל וימין.
Why is the captions like this?
שמאל וימין.
And the right religious.
דתיים וחילונים.
And the right religious and secular Jews, okay? And non-Jews. Oh, fantastic. I like this.
יהודים ולא יהודים. אנחנו גילינו.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. The secularists and the non-Jews. This is good. I like that part of his speech. We discovered this not only on the
לא רק ב7 באוקטובר.
7th of October. Whoever put these captions, I don't know why are you putting one word at a time. This is so hard to read. We discovered. Oh my God, what was that? We discovered it throughout the entire war. But we discovered yesterday. Oh, what? We discovered. What is this? In the terrible massacre, in the killing people in cold blood, oh my God, our captain.
כרמל גת, עדן ירושלמי.
Oh, he's mentioning the name of the hostages.
Hersh Goldberg.
Oh, why didn't you put the most important part? He was starting to cry after that. Okay, never mind. I don't know. Somebody didn't do a good job in translating that video. Anyways, it's not. Let's get to this one. He cut out whoever edited that video. He was mentioning the name of the hostages, and he started like crying almost. So I wanted to see that, but obviously the video got cut. So this is a video from the protest. Look at this. Look at the number of people showing up. Holy moly. Wow. I know I disagree with these protesters, but I also admire, the fact that people, protesting, not rioting, but protesting is something a country should be proud of. You know what I mean? Like holding your government responsible, trying to, exercise your right to question the authorities. That's a good thing in general. So I'm actually a pro-protest, this is how democracy is supposed to work. But in this case, I disagree with their position, but at the same time, it shows how healthy Israel is as a democratic, country at the same time, as much as I disagree with their position. Anyways, the last video I want to show you guys is this mullah, okay, and his position on what's happening, because this is going to make what he's saying is going to make a lot of my points for me, right? So I'm going to show you his take on the protests in Israel. This is a mullah from Iran, right? But before I do that, let me actually read some of your comments. The cat lady saying we must look at, and by the way, thank you guys. This is like Alfred is highlighting mostly comments from Israelis, so this is helping me a lot. So thank you for that. The cat lady is saying we must look at the larger picture. Leaders have to make hard decisions. That's why I'm not putting myself in such a position. Bibi must be strong and not fold. Okay, that's interesting. Ziv is saying there were also protesters that waved Hamas flags after the murder of the 6 hostages, both in New York and in other American and European cities. Holy, okay, yes. Yeah, I hope I was like in America, yes, that's normal in America, unfortunately, now. I thought you were saying in the protests in Israel. I was like, what the hell? Okay, but not that. Okay. Purple Pop is saying, so I'm supposed to know everything you said ever. I'm being nice, Armin. Don't make me mean. I don't care. You could be as stupid as you want. Don't make me mean. You were already you call me. You were already being mean. And no, you don't. You're not supposed to know everything I said. You just don't make assumptions if you don't know something. How about that? Maybe try doing that. The cat lady saying, Armin, I agree with you completely, and I'm not right wing and never supported Likud or Bibi. Oh well, thank you, cat lady. So you're saying you're agreeing with me that Netanyahu is taking even though you're not a supporter of Likud or Bibi, you agree with me that Netanyahu is doing the right thing by not giving in to Hamas. In this, you agree with Netanyahu, even though you don't support him. Chuck Norris, a gun club, is saying Bibi has been fighting the same war for 30 years. He will never change. Interesting point. Lucid is saying, why all protests about Gaza and people ignore what happens now in Ethiopia with 30 times more lives lost than in Gaza? Well, because these are the protests that I'm showing you are Israelis. Why would Israelis protest? Obviously, Israelis care more about Israel, right? No one calls it genocide and protests about Yemen, Sudan, Ethiopia. Okay, so genocide is not big. The definition of genocide is not based on how many numbers of people are being killed. Genocide is based on the motivation behind the killings. So you could have something that is lower in number, and be a genocide if the goal is to wipe out an entire ethnicity, and something could be killing a higher number of people and not be genocide because the goal, even though it's a bigger harm, but because of the intentions, it could be not genocide. But I do agree with you that these other things need more attention as well. But however, the Gaza situation, even though it's used as a excuse for instability and much more than just Gaza, right? So unlike what's happening in Yemen, Sudan, and Ethiopia, the instability and the terrorist attacks by many Palestinians and what's the situation in Gaza and the West Bank is actually a fuel for instability all around the world. So, for example, if you think like Gaza people are paying too much attention to Gaza, let me remind you that 9/11 was about Gaza, right? If you actually look at what Osama bin Laden said in his letter for why he did 9/11, it starts with Gaza. So if 9/11 is because of Gaza, then the war in Afghanistan and Iraq is also about Gaza. So you could see that the Gaza situation actually impacts a whole bunch of other things all around the world. We got a major super chat. Wow, thank you so much for this. Legi Mathigayon. I don't know how to read that. I'm sorry. But thank you so much for the $50 super chat saying the Philadelphia corridor must be kept in any deal and at all costs. Hundreds of soldiers have been lost to take it and keep it. It is Hamas. It's Hamas only supply and smuggling line. Recent polls show most Israelis support this priority. We are rational people. Okay, so I don't. Well, thank you so much. I do agree with you. However, the last line that you were saying, I actually have a poll that actually disagrees with what you're saying. I don't know how accurate my poll is. So actually, let me show you this because I wanted to show you guys this because I told you that I'm not just going to judge based on the numbers on the ground. I am actually going to use. So there's two polls. that say two different things. One of the first one that I'm showing you is by Pew Research Center, and this is back in March and April 2024, and this shows that the majority of Israelis wanted the war to continue, right? So you can see that 39% of Israelis were saying that the military response was just about right, and 34% wanted there to be more of a response. They say the government didn't go far enough, right? So that's an absolute majority of Israelis saying, basically 73% of them, more than 70% of Israelis saying that the war, not only the war is the war should continue. Around half of them wanted to actually to increase the response, right? So, but this was back in March and April. However, then we had another poll in July. So let me know, how do you respond to this, right? So this is a later poll, and this one says 2/3 of Israelis back a hostage deal over continuing war in Gaza. So that, I don't know, maybe because a couple of months passed and maybe a lot of Israelis got tired of the war. And I know this is a different poll, so maybe the methodology of the data collection was different. But also, this is not necessarily a contradiction, because the 2/3 that are saying that, okay, end the war to get the hostages back, they might not disagree with the idea that the war was necessary. But maybe even if they support the war, if they could get the hostages back, they want the war to end. So, but this poll suggests that most Israelis actually agree with the protesters, that they want the deal to go through. But maybe, however, maybe Leggy, I'm going to call you Leggy, okay? Maybe what I'm showing doesn't actually contradict what you're saying, because maybe 2/3 of Israelis would want a hostage deal and stop the war, but would not agree if that deal included giving up the Philadelphia corridor. So maybe actually there's no contradiction between your super chat and the poll here. Maybe many of these Israelis that would back a deal to get the hostages back and stop the war. If you told them, what if the deal included giving away the Philadelphia corridor, maybe then they will back down. So again, we don't know. The polls haven't been broken down to that level of detail. We require a poll that makes it specific, like compares all the deals and see what would Israelis agree with, right? So, do you guys like the breakdown I do here on this channel? Like, do you see other people going around and bring you this level of information? This is very, like, I'm not just judging based on the size of the protests what Israelis think. I actually go and dig up actual polls to figure out what Israelis think, right? Because it's easy to think that most Israelis or most of any society think something because you see the size of the protests and they're massive, right? And you might use that as a judgment on what most Israelis think, but that's not an effective way of coming up with that conclusion, right? Oh, we got another super chat. Iran is saying, we don't trust Netanyahu. He doesn't take hard decisions. Netanyahu doesn't take hard decisions? I mean, I criticize Netanyahu for many things, but not taking hard decisions is not one of those things. And also, who's we? Are you speaking on behalf of all Israeli people? I'm not sure. Somebody's calling me a fire worshiper in the live chat. And you know why they're calling me a fire worshiper? Because I'm Iranian, so he thinks I'm Zoroastrian. And so there's a lot of misinformation here. So I'm not Zoroastrian, I'm atheist. But even if I was Zoroastrians, maybe you're joking, but Zoroastrians don't worship fire. Okay. Let me read some of your comments, and then we go to this mullah guy, because I really want to show you guys this. Okay, don't. Okay. Ben Gvir are too much for us. He makes more terror, and they try to make change to so drastic in justice system. It makes us nuts. I agree that we need to make changes, but that was radical. Yeah, of course, that guy is a radical. I don't like him. We had shows many shows against this guy before October 7th, right? So yeah, of course. But again, even if you want to change your government, it shouldn't be because you're giving in to Hamas. It shouldn't be in response to something Hamas does, because that would be rewarding Hamas's terror. Ziv is saying, I have a problem with that. The Palestinian nationalist movement created Hamas, and Hamas is the embodiment of the Palestinian national movement. Okay. Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. Okay, so Alfred had to go, which is fine. Alfred, you can go because I don't need any more comments start, because I'm about the comments that you have is already good enough, right? But thank you for being here, Alfred. Guys, say thank you to Alfred. He has to go, but thank you for being here and starting people's comments, right? So Almang is saying, I am Israeli and I agree with you. I don't love current Israeli government and I would like a ceasefire, but I don't understand the people who shout for ceasefire. Like, what deal is there? Yeah, the deal that is Hamas wants is unacceptable. It's an unacceptable deal. Like, this is something that should not be given away. Basically, Hamas is asking for a rebirth. Remember, this is how, as an Israeli, I suggest this is how I think you should look at it. You even if you think like, oh, Armin, you don't understand Israel, okay? I understand Hamas, right? Even if you think I don't understand Israel, I do understand Hamas, right? What Hamas is asking for you is for it to have another chance at growing back and being what it was before. Israel has been very successful in destroying. So Netanyahu made a mistake. Netanyahu, after October 7th, he promised to completely destroy Hamas. That's not what he should have promised, because that is almost impossible. What he should have promised, now he said that now the language that he's using is more in line with what I suggested. I think he watches my show. Just kidding. Is that he should have said that we will destroy Hamas's military capacity and its capacity for it to rule over Gaza. And that should have been the promise. And to be honest, we're getting very close to that. We're getting very, very close to that. Unless you give them the Philadelphia corridor, right? Because if you give them that, Hamas has proven to be able to regrow again and again and again and get back to all the way back to where it was. I mean, it has the Islamic Republic of Iran as its guarantor. The Islamic Republic of Iran is now, thanks to Biden, is selling record amount of oil, and they have enough money to basically rearm Hamas to where it was before. All it needs is a breathing corridor, which is the Philadelphia corridor. So that's what Hamas is asking for. You shouldn't be giving them that. Jean is saying, I'm Israeli right wing and I blame Bibi for October 7th. Oh wow, look at this, guys. We have all sorts of people here. Jean, who is look at, he's Jean, would it be fair for me to say that you're a trans rights activist? You're a trans rights activist, you're Israeli right wing, and you blame Bibi for October 7th. That is a very interesting mix of positions that you have, which is actually, I like that. Okay, so I say I am Israeli right wing, and I blame Bibi for October 7th for years of not doing shit with the Hamas for almost 20 years, but I don't think he is responsible for what is happening to the hostages. I mean, technically, I think he is responsible for what's happening to the hostages because he kind of helped fund Hamas, and I blame him for that. But regardless of what he did before that was wrong, he should be supported in destroying Hamas, right? I'm not going to look at everything in black and white, even though I kind of blame him for what happened on October 7th. And because you have to blame him for the hostages. If you blame him for October 7th, well, the hostages have been taken on October 7th. So if you blame him for October 7th, then you also blame him for the hostages. However, you have to be pragmatic. I'm not going to stop supporting somebody because they are responsible for something. If they're doing the right thing at the moment, that's all you should care about. If they're doing, you should support them because they're doing the right thing right now. You shouldn't let your grudge stop you from supporting something that is working. That's my position. Chuck Norris is saying, ask Bibi why he funded Hamas. Yep, that's actually my point. Again, he did kind of help. I mean, he didn't fund Hamas himself, but he allowed the funding of Hamas to happen on purpose, and he should be held responsible for that, but not on Hamas's terms. We don't want Hamas to be responsible for bringing Netanyahu to justice. And he should be supported right now. Beran, oh my God. Beran, no. I don't know how to say your name. Solomon is saying it is not about Palestine only. They want to do jihad and take over the world and try to impose Sharia law. Yep, we had a show on this. We had an expert coming in and explaining this in great detail for why that's not a conspiracy theory. That's actually the case. Carl is saying, but seriously, at this point, every Palestinian who refuses to become an Israeli citizen should be deported to Arab countries and compensated only long-term solution. Well, we could talk about that later, yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to read much more comments because I really want you guys to watch this mullah video, okay? This is the most important thing I want you to take from the stream today, okay? So this is a mullah in Iran, and he's now going to respond to what happened in the protests in Israel. So watch this.
بله و نتیجه اون شعار مدیریت اجرایی و با ارزه و بی‌ارزه این شد که ما امروز باید بشیم اینجا پوشکامونو محکم کنیم قصه بخوریم اما رسیدیم آقا به بخش باحال ماجرا.
So that was about his previous section. Now he's saying like we now get to the interesting part of our show. So he's saying like this is the exciting part of our show.
آغاز شد.
He says our attack on Israel has started, because let me give you context. A lot of people in Iran are making fun of the religious authority, their government, and their religious people who said that, oh, we're going to take a hard revenge for killing of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, and we're going to attack Israel, and they would regret it. And a lot of people constantly make fun of the government. Where's your hard revenge? Where's your hard revenge? Like you are so weak and pathetic. You can't do anything. Israel was strong enough to be able to come and take out Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, and you guys haven't done anything. You act like you're very strong, but when it comes to, you're basically all bark and no bite. Basically, you just act like you're very strong, but you're pathetically weak. And this guy on his shows, he has always been promising that, oh, well, any day now, we're going to basically destroy Israel. They're going to regret the day that they even considered coming to Tehran and killing Ismail Haniyeh. And now everybody, all like a lot of his audience, like, what happened? Where's the revenge? Where's the revenge? And he would sometimes say, like, oh, 2 more days, 4 more days. It's going to happen this week. It's going to happen next week. I promise you, we will. And now, finally, he's saying the attack started. So the Islamic Republic is attacking Israel. Okay, say what? Because I missed it. I mean, I checked the news and it didn't happen. So let's listen to what he has to say.
باورتون نمیشه. به خدا دارم راست میگم.
He's like, you wouldn't believe me. I swear to God, I'm telling you the truth. Like we are, our attack on Israel started.
حالا حمله همیشه همینجوری نیست که تو موشک بفرستی. البته که موشک‌های مبسوط و توناژ بالا رو میفرستیم.
He's saying an attack is not always with missiles. And of course, we have very advanced missiles that we will send to Israel at some point, okay? But not all attacks are with missiles.
اما هنوز ما حمله نکردیم آقا جنگ اون طرف شروع شد. یعنی
but he's saying, but even before we send our missiles, even before we start the war already started in Israel. Like without the Islamic Republic having to send any missiles to Israel, we have somehow managed to start war in Israel.
اینا ما نفرستادیم اینا خوردن.
Like we didn't send a missile, but they got hit. Without sending a missile, Israel got hit.
خیلی مهمه.
So this is very important.
علی خامنه‌ای ای مرد بزرگ.
He's saying Sayyid Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader. He's like, oh, you great person. He's saying that Khamenei is so wise and so intelligent that he knows how to hit Israel. Like, look how clever we are. We're basically tearing Israel apart without even sending Israel, without shooting any missiles towards Israel. He's like praising Khamenei, like, oh, Sayyid Ali Khamenei, you great person.
تو بدون اینکه یک تیر به سمت سرزمین اشغالی شلیک بکنی در این ایام، البته تمام زمینای اینا رو به آتش کشیدی.
He said, Khamenei, you great person, without shooting a single shot at Israel, without shooting a single bullet at Israel, you have managed to inflame their entire land. You have managed to spread fire in their land.
سوراخشون کردی. پارش.
You have turned them apart. You have, basically surah. How do I say surah? Guys, Iranians in the live chat, help me translate this.
چون کردی سید علی خامنه‌ای علی پور.
Basically, he's talking about the protests right now in Israel. He's saying, look, we are basically destroying Israel from the inside without even shooting any bullets or missiles.
تمام زمینای اینا رو به آتش کشیدی. سوراخ.
Like he's saying all their land is on fire.
سوراخشون کردی. پارشون کردی. سید علی خامنه‌ای علی پور الکی نمیگه.
Like I'm not Ali. His name is Alipur. He's saying like Alipur is not saying these just willy nilly.
جایگاه ولی فقیه دوست دارم چون سید علی توشه.
Like he said, I like the Wali Faqih position, the supreme leadership position, because Ali Khamenei is our leader.
ببینیم چه اتفاقی است. 305.
So now he's saying like, let's watch what's happening in Israel. So now he's going to show the protests in
علی
Israel.
فقیه دوست دارم چون سید علی توشه. ببینیم چه اتفاقی است. 350,000 نفر اسرائیلی در سرزمین‌های اشغالی بر علیه نتانیاهو اومدن.
He's saying 350,000 Israelis in the streets of Israel are coming out against Netanyahu.
تو خیابون آقا شورشی را افتاده. من اصلا خیلی از ویدیوها رو نمیتونم برای شما پخش کنم.
He said like there's such riots that I can't. The riots are in such a so aggressive, basically so violent. So he's saying that I cannot show it to you. I mean, he's bullshitting because I've seen the riots. They're all YouTube friendly. He's saying that the level of violence in the streets are to such a degree that I cannot show it to you on YouTube. He's lying though, because there is not that level of violence in the protests.
عکس نیست ویدیو. نمیتونم براتون پخش کنم صحنه‌اش یوتیوب.
Look how happy he is regarding the protests in Israel.
اصلا خیلی از ویدیوها رو نمیتونم برای شما پخش کنم. عکس نیست ویدیو. نمیتونم براتون پخش کنم صحنه‌اش یوتیوب نمیذاره ما پخش بکنیم.
Like I can't show them. YouTube would not let me show you a lot of the videos that are coming.
ولی خب تا جایی که احتمالاً اجازه داشته باشیم جاش باشه.
Like I will only show you the videos which is YouTube would allow me to show you, right? But he's lying because there is no level of violence. Like people are not like, what the hell? I don't know what you're talking about. Most of the videos at least are YouTube friendly.
به آتش کشیدن آقا همشو نمیذارم.
He said like به آتش کشیدن, like they have inflamed their streets. I'm not going to show you all, but like you can see, basically he's saying these fires in the streets, this is basically he's taking credit for spreading fire in Israeli streets. He's like, we have a supreme leader that is so wise, that is capable of basically spreading fire in Israel without even actually attacking Israel.
طولانیه. ما یه تیر به سمت اینا تو این ایام البته تاکید پرت نکردیم.
Like look, in these days, he said, like in these days we haven't hit them even with one bullet, but look what's happening. And he wants to emphasize in these days because he says like at some point we will attack them, the Islamic Republic. But it's like in these days, look what's happening to them without even us attacking.
ولی موشکی که ما نفرستادیم اون طرف به زمین خورد.
Like the missile that we did not send was hit, they managed to somehow get hit by it. That's his language.
به آشوب کشیدن. یک وضعیتی، حالا زن زندگی آزادیان برن ببینن که وضعیت تو
Like the situation, like look at how he's lying here, right? He's saying the situation there is chaotic. The Zan Zendegi people, he's basically talking about the Iranian people who are anti the regime, the people who shout woman life freedom. He's talking to us. He's talking to us Iranians who are against the regime. He's saying you woman life freedom people, go watch happening in Israel.
سرزمین‌های اشغالی قبله آمالتون چه شکلیه؟ زنا رو همینجوری میکشن رو زمین.
So like the Israelis, they just grab women and they just drag them on the ground and they throw them into the van. Like that's what they do in Israel.
میکنن تو ون. بعضی موقع زنا رو میکشن میکنن تو آمبولانس.
Sometimes they don't even throw them in the vans. They just throw them directly into an ambulance. He's saying like, oh, you Iranian people who are shouting for women rights and stuff, you don't see how Israelis treat their women.
دنیا گرده. کارما میدونی چیه؟ یادتونه.
And he's saying this is karma. Like you guys who accuse the Islamic Republic of being anti-women, look how Israel's government is not treating people. And what's happening to Israel, this is karma. By the way, every time I review this guy's shows on my own English channel, Persian channel, because I have a Persian channel as well, mostly for people in Iran. But in him or other mullahs that talk about karma, I don't understand why you're talking about karma. That is shirk. You're a Muslim. You should not be talking about karma. That's a Hindu Buddhist belief. Okay, this is haram. It's shirk for you to talk about karma.
میگفتن از آمبولانس.
I see Ash, by the way, is getting really angry with this guy. Like when he was laughing, Ash sent out a super chat saying har har har. Okay, so Ash, by the way, guys, is Iranian, and he's getting very angry with this mullah in the live chat. And Ash was saying, as an Iranian, I say to all my Israeli brothers and sisters, long live Israel. And Ash was so angry with this man. That's fantastic. And then he sent another super chat saying, what a freaking hypocrite. Okay. Thank you, Ash, for all your super chats. Anyways, let's continue listening to what this guy is
دارن
saying.
استفاده میکنن برای جلوگیری از اغتشاشات. الان برو سرزمین‌های اشغالی بیاد. ببین.
What?
ولی موشکی که ما نفرستادیم اون طرف به زمین خورد. به آشوب کشیدن. یک وضعیتی، حالا زن زندگی آزادیان برن ببینن که وضعیت تو هم سرزمین‌های اشغالی قبله آمالتون چه شکلیه. زنا رو همینجوری میکشن رو زمین میکنن تو ون. بعضی موقع زنا رو میکشن میکنن تو آمبولانس. ببین دنیا گرده. کارما میدونی چیه؟ یادتونه میگفتن از آمبولانس‌ها دارن استفاده میکنن برای جلوگیری از اغتشاشات. الان برو سرزمین‌های اشغالی بیاد. ببین.
He's saying, like us Iranians who accuse the government of using their ambulances because the Iranian regime actually uses ambulances to suppress the people, like to fight the people. So like they put soldiers in their ambulances and they go and take hostages from the people who are protesting and they put them in ambulances. So people trust the ambulances, so they're not afraid. Or they don't attack the ambulances. So the government in Iran actually uses ambulances to attack people, and he said, you guys said that we do that, but look, Israel is actually doing that. I don't know where he's getting this from. He's saying Israel is actually using ambulances to attack their own people. Right. So the accusations that he's making against Israel are basically the things that Iranian people say that the Islamic Republic does. But for some reason, he's now saying that the Israeli government does the same things.
مردم میگیرن قشنگ جلو چش هم میکنن تو آمبولانس میبرن. این شکل.
He's like, yeah, there's basically saying the Israeli government in front of everyone's eyes, they just grab people and they put them in ambulances and they arrest them using ambulances. That's what they do in Israel. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
گرده. خیلی گرده زمین. اینجا رو ببین.
He's saying the world is round. The world is round is an Iranian way of saying there's karma. Right? So basically whatever you do eventually will come back to you.
בוקר מאוד מורכב.
Okay, so now he's showing something from Israeli TV.
تو آمبولانس میبرن. این شکلی شده. گرده. خیلی گرده زمین. اینجا رو ببین.
Yeah, people are saying, "Huh? What shit is he What shit is talking?" I know he's making. Yeah, I know. He's just making stuff up. He's saying in Israel, the government just uses ambulances to kidnap people and just arrest them when they're protesting. That's what he's saying. He's saying the things basically that the regime in Iran does. He's now saying that Israeli people do that. That's what he's trying. And his channel is getting very popular, by the way. His YouTube channel. But he's now showing something from Israeli TV. Let's see what's he saying.
בוקר מאוד מורכב.
صبح بسیار سختی بود.
So the TV host is saying that this was a very difficult morning. This is regarding the hostages being killed by Hamas.
واسهشون سخت بود زمانی که متوجه شدن حماس اعلام کرد که در اثر حمله موشکی که به غزه داشتید زدید تک یک گروگان‌های خودتون رو که ما اینجا مخفی کرده بودیم زدید زحمت کشید گروگان.
So he's saying, look at what he's saying. He's saying like, yes, this was such a hard morning for Israel when Israel found out that the hostages that Hamas was protecting, that was keeping in captivity and protecting, you, Israel, you killed the hostages when you threw missiles at Hamas. So that's what he's saying. He's like, oh, Israelis are very upset when they found out that their own missiles killed every single one of these 6 hostages when they were attacking Hamas with their missiles while Hamas was keeping these hostages safe and protecting them. So wait, let's listen to this.
جارو ببین.
بוקר מאוד מורכב.
صبح بسیار سختی بود. خیلی واسهشون سخت بود زمانی که متوجه شدن حماس اعلام کرد که در اثر حمله موشکی که به غزه داشتید زدید تک یک گروگان‌های خودتون رو که ما اینجا مخفی کرده بودیم
that we were hiding, these hostages that we were hiding.
زدید زحمت کشید گروگان‌های خودتون رو پت و پاره کردید.
So he said you killed your own hostages. You tore apart your own hostages, which is such a bullshit lie, given that the family, if the Israeli government is saying that Hamas shot the hostages in the head, and Hamas is saying that no, it was Israeli missiles that killed them. So he's choosing to believe Hamas over Israeli government. Of course he does that. But he doesn't understand that even if Israeli government wanted to lie, they could not lie about this because they would have to deliver the body of the hostages, and one of them being American, to the family of the hostages. Of course, they cannot lie about the way that they died because it's so easily demonstrable how they died. So I don't know.
با موشک‌های خودتون لعنتیا.
Like he's saying, you lanati. How do you translate lanati? He's swearing at Israelis and saying basically you killed them with your own missiles.
بهتون گفتیم به ما حمله نکنید. میزنن گروگان‌های خودتون میکشید. مگه اینا گروگان واسه شما مهمه؟ مگه اون شرک
He's saying, look, Israelis don't care about their hostages. This is what we told them. So he's speaking we as in like he's part with Hamas. He says we told you don't shoot at us with missiles. You will kill your own hostages. But look, Israelis don't care about their hostages. They don't care about basically look.
تک یک گروگان‌های خودتون رو که ما اینجا مخفی کرده بودیم زدید زحمت کشید گروگان‌های خودتون رو پت و پاره کردید با موشک‌های خودتون لعنتیا. هی بهتون گفتیم به ما حمله نکنید. میزنن گروگان‌های خودتون میکشید. مگه اینا گروگان واسه شما مهمه؟ مگه اون شرک نشینا واسه شون و خانواده‌هاشون واسه شون اهمیتی دارن؟ آقا میزنن این خودیاشون هم میزنن اینا رحم بهش.
Like Israelis have no sympathy even for their own people.
کس ندارن این خرن خودشون هم نفهمیدن مردمشون. فهمیدن.
He's saying Israeli people are stupid. They don't know that their government doesn't care about them. They will do whatever they want even if it kills Israelis.
ولی مسئله اینه که خبر بهشون دادن که زدید همه گروگان‌های خودتون رو پت و پاره کردید. خاک بر.
He's laughing. He's like, oh look, you killed your own hostages. Like you idiots, you killed your own hostages.
سرتون کنن. صبح
like dirt in your head. This is an Iranian way of swearing and something. Like dirt in your head. Look at you pathetic people. You killed your own hostages.
بسیار سختی بود وقتی این خبر رو شنیدیم. گوش بده.
And so he's celebrating Israeli people being upset about it. So he wants to show how upset Israeli people are for the hostages dying, and he wants to celebrate that.
تو با خبر هستی چون مدام با این خانواده ها گروگان‌های کشته شده که اخبار ناگوار رو دریافت کردن در ارتباط هستی.
So the TV host is telling this Israeli man that you are always in touch with the family of the hostages. So do you have any news about them? Like, do you have any information for us?
נמצא בקשר עם המשפחות הללו שמקבלות את הבשורה הקשה. נמצאים בקשר כבר כל כך הרבה ימים, פועלים ביחד.
نفهمم ما چندین روز اصلا نمیدونم. گفته امروز صبح چه احساسی داشتی؟ ولش کن چرت و پرت میگه.
So he's like, it doesn't matter what she says. It's not that important. She's just basically he's saying that the anchor, the TV host, is speaking rubbish. It's not that important. They're just asking him, how do you feel?
אתה מרגיש הבוקר?
איך אני מרגיש?
احساسم چیه؟
What is my feeling?
در گمارا ضرب المثلی وجود دارد که میگوید وقتی خانه‌های اسرائیلی رو میبینید که در آتش میسوزند بگویید باروخ دایان هایمیت و لباس‌ها رو پاره کنید. رسمشونه.
So he's saying that in Gomorrah there's a tradition that they say when you see Israeli houses are on fire, say Baruch Dayan Haimit, and then tear your clothes. And so this is their tradition.
هایمیت زمانی گفته میشه وقتی دیدید خونه اسرائیلی داره آتیش میگیره اینو بگید لباس خودتو جر بده. رسم اوناست نمیدونم حالا.
בגמרא, מירה שאומר, אתה רואה בתי ישראל בחורבנן, אומר ברוך דיין האמת וקורא הקריאה. ואני היום מרגיש שאני חייב לקרוא הקריאה.
امروز احساسش اینه که باید لباسشو پاره کنه.
So his feeling today is that he has to tear apart his clothes. Look how he laughs at him.
چون دیده خونه‌های اسرائیلی در آتش میسوزه، گروگاناشون کشته شدن. حالا تو این برنامه میگن که حماس کشته. خودشون هم میدونن که خودشون کشتن. گروگانا.
He's like, in this show on Israeli TV, they're saying Hamas killed our hostages, but they themselves know that it was Israel that killed the hostages.
میدونن خودشون.
They know this, but they don't admit it.
کشتن. ولی ما بهشون یه پیامی باید ارسال بکنیم.
He says, however, we have a message for them, for these Israeli people.
شما لباساتون که هیچ اون جایی رو که نباید پاره بشه هم پاره کنید عزیزای من دیگه فایده نداره.
He says, forget about tearing your clothes. Even if you tear apart your assholes, it's game over for you. So he says it's gone beyond tearing apart your clothes. Even if you tear apart your assholes, your time is up. There's no use anymore for you guys.
گروگاناتونو که خودتون کشتید، دهنتون خودتون زدید، مردم خودتون رو کشتید. خاک بر اون سرتون کنن.
You pathetic people, you killed your own hostages.
اما به خاطر جنایت هایی که کردید امروز کشور شما با آشوب کشیده شده. کشور که نمیشه منطقه.
He's like, because of the crimes that you have committed, your country is now in chaos, and I shouldn't even call it the country. Your location that you're in is now in chaos because of the crimes that you have committed.
اشغالی به آشوب کشیده شده، دارن مردم خودتون پاره پورتون میکنن، ولی همون مردم
your own people are now tearing you apart in your streets.
آشوب کشیده شده، دارن مردم خودتون پاره پورتون میکنن، ولی همون مردم یکشون قاسبانی هستن که نباید در اون جغرافیا قرار میگرفتن.
But even the same people that are now in the streets that are tearing your country, your land apart, even those people in the streets, every single one of them are an occupier who should not be in that land.
همشون قاسبن. برای ما با حکومت اسرائیل
all of them are occupiers. How do you say qasib in English? Qasib is actually more aggressive than occupier. Qasib, violator, tyrant, aggressor. So he's saying all Israelis are aggressors, every single one of them.
ذره تفاوت ندارن و طعم تلخ موشک.
Look at this what he's saying.
کردید. امروز کشور شما با آشوب کشیده شده. کشور که نمیشه منطقه اشغالی به آشوب کشیده شده، دارن مردم خودتون پاره پورتون میکنن، ولی همون مردم یکشون قاسبانی هستن که نباید در اون جغرافیا قرار میگرفتن. همشون قاسبن. برای ما با حکومت اسرائیل ذره تفاوت ندارن و
He's saying every single one of those people, even the people who are protesting, they're all aggressors, and every single one of them, for them, they are basically identical to the government themselves. For us, they are no different than the government of Israel.
طعم تلخ موشک‌های ما رو به زودی خواهید چشید. البته ما
And he's saying that you will taste the bitter taste of our missiles eventually, right? And that's, I just want to leave it at that because the show is getting too long. So basically, at the end, he said like all the Israelis they're all the same. All of them are basically the same as the government, and they will all taste our missiles at some point. So just wanted to show you how the protests are being perceived as a win by pro-regime people in Iran and by the regime itself, and also by Hamas. And to be honest, actually, it is a win for Hamas. Hamas is managing to do something with 6 bullets. They managed to do something to Israel that they couldn't have done with all their missiles combined. So just keep that in mind, when you're protesting, right? Just keep that in mind. This is a huge win for Hamas, and this is a huge win for the Islamic Republic of Iran. I might be wrong about this. Maybe I am evaluating this incorrectly. Let me know. I am open to changing my opinions, and this is why I'm talking to you guys, right? This is why I'm talking to you guys, so that I could be corrected if I'm wrong about something. Oh yeah, usurper is another word for. Thank you so much, Ash, using his super chat to tell me usurper is also, but also aggressor. I look at multiple translation. I think the way he was using it there, aggressor was the best translation. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Angie saying we appreciate that. Thank you, Angie. Again, guys, if you guys are disappointed with any of my takes, just know that I am skeptical. I'm always open-minded. I don't say my opinions with certainty. It's just one way to look at things, and we are here to discover these things together. Okay, this is a conversation that we're having here together here on Atheist Republic. So even if we disagree, we could actually be a little bit more informed about what the opposite position would be. Okay, even if we don't change our opinions, it's good to see why some other people might disagree with us. If you think that's valuable, please like this video, subscribe if you're new here, hit the bell notification, leave a comment after the show is over so that the channel grows. Recommend the Atheist Republic to your friends and enemies and everyone else, right? And most importantly, to my Israeli friends right now, please stay strong. Please defend your country. It's worth defending, obviously. Okay, stay strong and stay liberal. Till next show.